So, last weekend, my family and I gathered for our annual family reunion. You know the drill, too many people crammed into Aunt Martha's backyard, an overabundance of potato salad, and a jukebox that could only play hits from the 80s. Everything was going as expected until Cousin Larry, who had just returned from a meditation retreat in the mountains, decided to bring his newfound sense of enlightenment to the party. He swaggered in with a bundle of pool noodles under one arm, announcing to anyone who would listen that he had discovered the ultimate form of conflict resolution. The rest of us were mildly intrigued but mostly skeptical. After all, this was the same Larry who once tried to solve a parking lot dispute with interpretive dance. Larry, with all the confidence of a self-proclaimed guru, explained that his method was called aquatic dispute resolution, a name that sounded far fancier than it deserved. The idea was simple: if two people had a disagreement, they'd step into the inflatable kiddie pool set up in the yard and duel it out with pool noodles. "It's all about channeling your inner water warrior," he said, gesturing dramatically as if he were unveiling the latest iPhone model. The rest of us exchanged glances, half expecting him to be joking, but Larry's earnestness was unwavering. It wasn't long before Uncle Joe and Cousin Tim, who'd been bickering over the last piece of Aunt Martha's famous apple pie, became the first unwilling participants in Larry's grand experiment. The scene that followed was nothing short of comedic gold. There we were, gathered in a semicircle around the kiddie pool, watching Uncle Joe and Cousin Tim thrash at each other with neon-colored pool noodles. Their faces were a mix of determination and disbelief, as if they couldn't quite believe they were partaking in this ridiculous endeavor. As the noodles flailed and the water splashed, the rest of us cheered and laughed, with bets being placed faster than you could say family bonding. And then, just as Uncle Joe landed a particularly impressive noodle whack, Larry proclaimed, "See? No hard feelings, just soft noodles." The afternoon devolved into a series of noodle duels, with participants ranging from toddlers to grandparents, each bout more absurd than the last. Even Aunt Martha, who usually steered clear of Larry's antics, couldn't resist joining the fun, wielding her noodle like a pro. By the end of the day, everyone was soaked and exhausted, but the air was filled with laughter and camaraderie. As we packed up to leave, I couldn't help but chuckle at the thought that Larry might have actually been onto something. But hey, if nothing else, at least he gave new meaning to the phrase "making waves in the family."